It's been 6 weeks since my last episode, and I'm coming at you right now, JohnnyCast episode 13. And believe me, the gap in time hurt me more than it hurt you. Not just as much, more, all right? I had some nice fucking momentum on TikTok, and then Johnny had to go away for a while. I had to do some fucking time, all right? Now, here's the situation. People have called me a Renaissance man in the past. I get it. And, I mean, listen, it is what it is. I'm a Renaissance man. But I'm now living up to that Renaissance man moniker in a way that I couldn't have even imagined, okay? Call me Johnny Marco Polo, call me Johnny Columbus, call me Johnny Magellan, okay? I've been traveling like an absolute king the last basically month and a half, and that's why I haven't been able to post. So let's get right into it, and I want to apologize for that gap in time, but listen, it is what it is. Things come up, and you move on. We're going to start off in Europe, and this was a trip, make no mistake, for pleasure. No work involved, all pleasure. So we get on this fucking plane, JFK, early flight, 10-hour flight. We're going from JFK to Copenhagen, and just nightmare city from the get-go. I mean, you get on the plane, okay? I'm getting hounded and hassled to put the fucking seatbelt on. The seatbelt's not stopping anything. If this plane's going down, it's going down. I don't want to have this stupid restrictive thing on my thing. It's also just a lap seatbelt, so realistically, the turbulence gets crazy and then the plane crashes. Well, guess what? I'm doing one of these. I'm not held in by my chest, by my big pecs, all right? I'm going bang. I'm going right over. My head is smashing into the TV, which brings me to the next point, which is on this 10-hour flight, the TVs don't work. The TVs did not work on this 10-hour flight, just a black screen. And it was as miserable as you can imagine. What am I supposed to do for 10 hours? Okay, I'm supposed to play Go Fish with the guy next to me for 10 hours? This was a 4 p.m. flight. I'm not going to sleep at 4 p.m. I didn't use pharmacologic intervention to help me sleep during this flight. So I'm sitting there bored out of my skull, and I go, you know what? I'll bite the bullet. I'll buy the $29.95 Wi-Fi. Now, again, I am a good customer when it comes to I'm a nice fucking guy when it comes to traveling and giving my fair share, okay? I mean, we're talking about Delta Sky Miles, whatever fucking some platinum member bullshit. I don't even know. You're going to charge me $29.95 for the Wi-Fi on the plane, and it's not even going to work. You can't stream shit. I can't even get text messages. What is the point? Can we figure out Wi-Fi in planes? I understand it's a miracle. I think Louis C.K. has a bit on this where it's a miracle how, like, you shouldn't be upset that the phone or the plane or the phone or the TV or the Wi-Fi doesn't work on a plane or the credit card because, I mean, you're in a tube that's flying across the country, across a fucking a body of water. Having said that, okay, we figured this out almost 100 years ago. You'd think by now, again, it's been 25 plus years since the internet's been created. You'd think by now we'd be able to have significant, steady, good Wi-Fi on a plane. And we don't. So I'm sitting there like an asshole trying to stream Rocky 1. And it's just not working. It's just not working. So you got that. You get the stupid fucking little beam of air hitting me in the eye. So that started off like shit. Okay. So the plane finally lands and we get to Copenhagen, which, nice city. Nothing crazy. Would I go back? Probably not. Happy I saw it though. Very clean. You got the all-electric Uber type service. It's not Uber. I forgot what it's called. Everyone's riding bikes, and I got a story about the bike in a second, but you got that going on. And I mean, listen, everyone in Europe is nice. Bottom line, everyone in Europe is polite. I mean, I just think about how loud and obnoxious I am, or even my friends who are significantly less obnoxious and loud than me, but like even them, but me specifically. And we're in this Airbnb, this nice like 3-story walk up, and it's like quiet during the middle of the day in the middle of the city. Like this just doesn't exist in New York or anywhere else in the States. That's like a big city. And I hit my knee on the stairs. Like it was a walk up and it was winding stairs. And I hit my knee. And I think that most people, specifically in Europe, like you hit your knee and you go like to yourself, like in your head, you're just like, man, that fucking hurt. That really hurt. And you're like rubbing your knee and blah, blah, blah. And again, it's quiet, it's nice, it just stopped raining, so it's like that post-rain kind of like euphoria in the air. And I hit my knee, and I literally yell like, ow, my fucking knee! And I'm like grabbing my knee, and then I just realized, because like that's echoing, like my knee, like in the, and I'm just like, dude, like, I don't know if it's New York or if it's just me, but I mean, I am just a loud, obnoxious, I gotta cool off. This trip taught me a lot about just how to operate in another country or just in an environment that isn't everyone shouting at each other. Because whether it's me and my friends, me and my family, me and my coworker, I'm just yelling all day. I'm always yelling. I'm yelling right now. I'm in a room by myself with a microphone 2 inches from my face. I'm screaming. But listen, it is what it is. And yeah, so I mean, Copenhagen had a couple cool things. They had what's called Christiania, which is basically like just a hippie community. In the 60s and 70s, the government was like, bros, you can do whatever you want to do. Just don't bother us. So they have just graffitied empty warehouses. People are living everywhere. You can move in if they like vote you in, and then you just like live there for free. And then when you want to leave, you just forfeit everything you have and then just leave. It's pretty wild. Just like weird illegal shit going on there galore. Everyone's dirty. Everyone's wearing like old sundress. It almost feels like the 70s when you're there still. Everything's like fluorescent colors and peace signs and fucking just weed and everything. And it was cool to see, I guess. I heard not to go there during night, and I'd understand why. So they got that. They got Gasoline Grill. So let me tell you about. I'm gonna do a quick review on Gasoline Grill. Gasoline Grill is like, let's call it the Shake Shack of Copenhagen, of Denmark. But the interesting thing is a lot of them double as an actual gas station, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, so you're at this Gasoline Grill. They make a nice burger. They do two things that are specific. They do like their gasoline burger, I think it's called, and it's just basically a nice, not a smash burger, nice fast casual type burger with all the fixings on it. Didn't blow me away. They got like their gasoline sauce, which was just like a muted type of like Shack sauce, I guess. And I don't want to compare it too much to Shake Shack, but between that and the colors, the color's green, it just reminds me. I'll put up a picture of the one that I was at. So I didn't love it. They sell their own beer there, which was pretty cool, and the fries were okay. It was I'll give it like a 6.5 out of 10. Nothing to write home about, but interesting and happy to have had it. And so the thing also with restaurants and just everyone in specifically Copenhagen, but just Europe in general, people take their sweet ass time. I mean, there's a line right in this Gasoline Grill for like, I don't know, like 8 people, and the fucking cashier is just having a conversation with every single person who walks up about their dog and about their family member who passed away. It's like, I'm trying to eat. I'm on a time budget here. I'm paying to travel here. I only got a specific amount of time. Let's move it on. Let's fucking get this rolling. I don't understand. People are just, they have absolutely no urgency in Europe, and I can kind of respect that, but no, we're not doing that. So, I mean, it was a little bit of a brutal situation with that. Then, I mean, Copenhagen, everyone's on bikes. The whole city is on bikes. It's fucking nuts. So we were there for 2 days. We were there for a Friday afternoon into the night, and then we were there for a Saturday day and Saturday night. We left on Sunday. So on the Saturday, we wound up getting up early. We biked probably like 6 or 7 hours. And I just knew from I mean, listen, when's the last time I rode a bike? I mean, not often. Now, again, riding a bike, you never forget it. But, I mean, you could be good at riding a bike and then just, like, know how to do it. And I was the latter. So, I mean, we're driving around on these fucking bikes. Everyone's doing, like, 30 miles an hour, going nuts. We're going, like, down busy streets. We went from, like, the city center to, like, Assistance Garden, which was this beautiful, like, cemetery that's all grown over, one of the biggest in the world. Kierkegaard, a famous philosopher who was Danish, is buried there. Very cool. We got to see his burial ground. So we're going everywhere, and again, 6-7 hour bike ride. The whole time I'm saying it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time before I eat shit. And what do you know? The last 5 minutes, we're on the way back to the Airbnb. Like, I could see the Airbnb, and some absolute jerk off just cuts me off. And now I'm like in line with the curb, where like the side of my wheels are like starting to scrape the fucking curb. So the curb's here and the bike's here, and I'm going like this. And so I know I'm going to just really, the fucking thing's going to spin out and I'm going to die. So I, like an absolute, like, stuntman, like Tom Cruise, I just bail. I just jump off the bike and I tuck and roll and fucking hit the ground and start rolling like there's a fire somewhere. And let me tell you right now, cast me as an extra in Mission Impossible or something like that. I killed it. I didn't get cut at all. None of the clothes ripped because the momentum just slid right off the concrete. My Lulu little fucking crew neck sweater, not a single rip. The yellow pants, not a single rip. And so, yeah, I mean, I killed that roll, that tuck and roll. The biking was cool, but again, it's dangerous. Unless you're doing it every day, what the fuck? I'm doing 25 miles an hour downhill with 50 people around me. I feel like I'm in the Tour de France, but I'm using like a fucking city bike. So with fucking shit in the basket with souvenirs. That was a nice little gesture. I sent my grandparents, by the way, a postcard in every single city I was at. I mean, if you want to talk about a nice touch from a nice grandson, just take notes, because that's what you do. Now, let's see what else I got. Oh, okay, so they got a strip club in Copenhagen called the Bada Bing, and it's literally modeled after the Bing from Sopranos, to the point where, like, they got, like, just fucking wax model heads, like statues of all the cast members. Then they had some Al Pacino in there also. I don't know why. They're giving away Bada Bing doll. It was funny. It was a funny spot. The whole trip, though, the entire trip, I was wanting to do what's called Vorfrelsers Kirk. I think that's how you say it. It was an old church that's super tall, super skinny and tall. And then after like a couple hundred years or whatever the case, they started building like a spire on top. And I'm going to put a picture up that has like a little winding staircase on the outside of the spire. And this is like one of the highest points in the city, and you can go and climb the whole tower from the inside and then get on the outside and yada, yada, yada. And so the whole weekend, I'm begging to do this. And the day we get there, we could have scheduled like a time to be able to climb it. And then it was raining, so they canceled it. And now it's like late afternoon, evening of the last day we're there. And we get a time. And I'm so happy, and I kept bothering my friends who I traveled with to do this. And I'm telling you guys, like, I heard it's fucking amazing, and blah, 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 blah. And so this is the moment in my life where I found out that I'm afraid of heights. I am so afraid of heights, it's nuts. So you start off climbing inside, and it's just stairs, 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 stairs. It gets pretty steep, almost like ladder-type stairs, and that's fine because you're inside. You don't see anything. Then you climb one more, like, ladder-esque staircase into the outside. And it is just, I mean, it is wild. You're talking about being high above everything. You see the entire city on this skinny little fucking... I'm going to post a picture also of the, like, width of the staircase. It's the staircase that's probably 2 people wide. Again, I'm not a huge guy, and I felt like I was going to fall over the railing. And it's just skinny, and the wind is fucking shaking the spire. I think that's the right word, spire. And so the entire fucking trip up, one of my boys is in front of me. I'm holding him like we're in prom together. I got one hand locked to his hip. The other one is grabbing his jacket. And I'm looking at the fucking building so I don't have to look outside. And I'm like, yo, like, just get me to the top. Just get me to the top. I'll post a picture of what I looked like. They took a picture of me smiling, and it looks like I'm having a good time. I'm not having a good time. As soon as we get to the top, there's like a gold ball there. I just literally touch it and then run back down. I don't know how I made it. Very close to a full-on panic attack. And then I get down there, and it took me a good 45 minutes to an hour and a half to wind down. I'm not kidding. It took 45 minutes to an hour to wind down, but I'm happy I did it. I mean, it is what it is. Now I know I'm afraid of heights, and it's not regular heights. It's like non-stable heights. I'm going to get to somewhere in Europe that I went that was a high height as well, but a different type of scenario, because it's not this fucking building that was built 500 years ago that is like, and that's another thing. I always joke about, like, oh, fuck this, I hate this, like, I'm gonna fucking run into oncoming traffic as a joke. That was also the day I realized that if anyone's seen this, I am not suicidal, because, I mean, Jesus Christ, I wanted to live more than anything in my life. If I would have fell off that fucking tower the entire time down, I would have been upset. All right, let's see what else we got in Copenhagen. That pretty much should be it, I think. Okay, so the fashion in Europe, and Copenhagen too, but specifically just Europe as a whole, is so much light years ahead of America. First of all, in Europe, no one's fat. So everyone is relatively in shape. When you see someone who's fat in Europe, they stick out because it doesn't make any sense. So when you see it, it's wild. But everyone is in good shape, and everyone has good fashion. The amount of, like, vintage New Balances I saw, and this is another thing though, sneakers wise, you won't catch me dead in Vehas. Get them out of my face. I mean, if you think I'm going to wear Vehas, you're fucking nuts. I saw these puppies. I'll take them off right now. I saw these puppies in Europe all over the place. Autry, Italian brand, even though they got an American flag on them, look like fucking Reeboks, a little more stack, off-white fucking nice rubber sole. If you think that I'm wearing Vehas, you're nuts. But getting back to it, Europe, phenomenal style. Just the women know how to dress, the guys know how to dress, everyone's wearing shit that fits, right? I mean, just in trend. It's just amazing. But the issue with this is that it's fun to look at for a while, and then you realize everyone just aimlessly walks in Europe. They're walking from left to right. They're stopping. They're fucking... I mean, no one has any idea of who's behind them. It's fucking crazy. It is crazy. That ties in with the people, like I said, the cashiers who just have a conversation with their lives with each person when it's a 40-person line behind. There's no urgency in that country. There's no urgency anywhere, honestly, besides New York. So we get to Switzerland from Copenhagen. So it was a 3-country trip. We started off, like I said, in Copenhagen in Denmark, and then we go to Switzerland. By far, Switzerland was my favorite of the 3 countries. I mean, it was just, we didn't even go to the west side. We didn't go to Geneva. We didn't go to, the French part, like Chamonix. We didn't go to Zermatt. And it was still, in 4 days, we were there full Sunday through Wednesday. It was just everything you could ask for. We landed in Zurich, and we rented a car, which I had been told not to do, and I was right. I mean, you should rent this car. This car enabled us to get up and go, leave, do whatever we wanted, full independence. Didn't have to pay for Ubers and wait for them. Granted, one person's got to stay relatively sober, obviously, when you're traveling, if you have a car. But also, you're able to put your luggage in the car, and it's locked somewhere so that, I mean, during checkout times and check-in times, you don't have to worry about that stuff. It was amazing. We drove, I'm not kidding, we drove like 400 miles. And by we, I mean literally, I did 400 miles in Switzerland. It was incredible. The driving is sketchy because, so first of all, we wanted a Euro wagon to get kind of like the vibe. And we get to the rent-a-car place in the Zurich airport, and they upgrade us to an M550 Beamer, which was awesome, a wagon. So the thing had some pickup. So, I mean, again, Johnny's got a heavy foot, so I'll move. So we're on these freeways, and I'm doing like 180, 190 kilometers an hour, which I don't know what that translates to, but it's got to be fast. And twice during this thing, I see a little flash, and I realize, fuck. There's speed cameras on the highway. There was not, the police presence in this country is nil, is none, zero. So that makes sense that they got cameras. So I got dinged for a couple. Not that bad, $60 a ticket, not too horrible. If it was New York, it'd be like $400 a ticket. But so yeah, we're driving, but the driving gets sketchy because once you get to the countryside or the mountainside, we're talking about like winding, some place that's a mile away could take 40 minutes because it's like fucking going up and down and side to side on the side of a cliff. And so the locals are driving like 70 miles an hour, hitting quick turns, and I'm scared as shit. So I'm like doing 30, 40, 50 miles an hour like a slug, getting beeped at and stuff. But I'm here, I'm alive. So it's better off we did that. But so, yeah, I mean, the driving was an absolute no-brainer. That was amazing. And the first place we go to for Sunday, so we get there about like 11 a.m. on Sunday. We go to Lucerne. So we were staying at an Airbnb, which was so cool. I'm so happy we did it. It was a barrel in a farm on the side of like a hill overlooking the lake Lucerne. So, I mean, so picturesque, no light pollution. The stars were incredible. There's animals everywhere, alpacas, cows, you name it, goats, chickens. I love chickens now. I'm a big chicken guy. I'm only eating pasture-raised, farm-raised eggs now. You got to give them their space. They're good people, those chickens. So I like seeing that. The roosters, just good-looking animals. I love that shit. So we're there. We drop the stuff off, and I'll put a picture up and maybe a video of the cabin, or whatever you want to call it, the barrel. It was a really cool experience. So we see that, and then boom, we're off. It's like 12:30 p.m., and we drive to the city of Lucerne, which is, I said Switzerland was my favorite country in this trip. Well, Lucerne was my favorite city and place in the whole trip as well. So, even more specifically. So, Lucerne is like this picturesque, cobblestone, brick, untouched old city with a river and obviously a lake running through it with old wooden bridges with moss covering them, going over the river, amazing restaurants. You got the snow-capped mountains of the Swiss Alps in the background, castles in the distance. It's literally a fake place. The food is amazing. You got, because we're in Switzerland, some of the best watchmakers, their stores littered all over the place. Amazing, just Swiss chocolate, like everyone pretty much knows, best in the world. So Sprungli's there, Laderack, I think that's how you say it's there, and more specifically, Max Chocolatier it's called, which is like, from what I've read, and now from trying all three and trying a bunch, this is the best spot. It's got to be in the world. I mean, it's the best chocolate I can even imagine. Never liked chocolate when I was a kid. I was always a vanilla guy. Then I slowly acquired a taste. And after COVID, even more specifically, really like chocolate for some reason now. In 2020, I got it, and my taste went away, and it came back, and I like chocolate. But this chocolate, let me tell you right now. So all these chocolate places do similar things, right? They're doing these, like, little square or circular chocolates with like ganache in the middle, or like maybe apricot or lime, or maybe something spicy. Like I remember Sprungly did this nice like whiskey chili little like ball. It was amazing. But I walk into Max Chocolatier. I'd heard a lot about it, and it's this little fucking shop, and I wanted to get chocolates for my mother to bring back. And yeah, I get like a variety pack, and I'm at the counter, and I go, you know what? I'll take 2 for me right now just to try it out. I'll take this like marbled like lemon and dark chocolate ball thing, and then I'm gonna take, you know what? You give me your recommendation. And she goes, you got to have Max's favorite. So first of all, I didn't realize Max is a guy. Max is an actual person. Again, the place is called Max Chocolatier. And so she's like, you got to have, it's called Max's favorite. So I'm like, Jesus Christ. So she gives it to me. I'm about to pay for the variety pack for my mother. And then I bite into this Max's favorite thing. And I go, whoa. I go, let's get rid of this variety pack. And I want every single one of these fucking Max's favorites to bring home. And makes sense. Basically, there's like a lot of each chocolate, and then there's only like 15 of these Max's favorite left. So I'll take all 15. So what it is, and if I can find a picture, I'll put it up. It's not a circle or a square. It's like this like rectangular but rounded off like little thing that is chocolate like cookie, little thin chocolate cookie with dark chocolate ganache in the middle and a little raspberry filling, all dipped in full dark chocolate, and then they stamp it with some copper fucking stamp. Best thing I've ever tasted in my life. So I get all those. Couldn't speak more highly about Lucerne. Great lunch spots. This is why I need a piece. I need a girl to just travel with. I mean, because it was fun with my friends. Yeah, it is what it is. But I need a girl who's loyal. Like DJ Khaled says, loyal. He doesn't say loyal. He says, you smart, you loyal. That's what I need. So, I mean, we would have went to dinners. We went to fucking Max Chocolatier. I mean, come on now with this shit. The little barrel in the fucking hillside. Okay, so Lucerne, couldn't speak more highly of it. Am I forgetting anything about Lucerne? I don't think I am. Really, really amazing. The next day, we get up from the barrel, and now we drive to Interlaken, which is like the cliche touristy part of Switzerland, but for good reason. Anything that's a tourist trap or a tourist attraction or a place to see when you go somewhere is that for some reason, and this was for a good reason. So Interlaken, I got this hotel, and I'll put the picture up of the view. I mean, it's a fucking modernized wooden cabin on the side of one of the mountains that overlooks both lakes in Interlaken, right? Because it was 3 of us, we got like the 4-person room, and it was basically the highest you can go on this whatever you call it, cabin, and we had a balcony that it was just breathtaking, genuinely breathtaking. It was fucking amazing. And so we drive up there, and to piggyback off of me saying how everyone's loud, we had to park in like a parking lot that was probably like a 3-minute walk from the cabin. And my boys took their stuff, and because I was driving the car, I then go to the parking lot, and I was gonna bring my stuff up. And as I get out of the car, I hear from this cabin like just loud fucking talking, and it's just this beautiful, serene landscape. So there's not much noise. It's pretty. You just hear birds chirping and stuff. And then breaking this beautiful silence is just my 2 friends just talking. They're not yelling. They're not heated. They're just having a nice, calm conversation, just like 8 octaves too loud, 50 decibels too loud. And it's just funny that this is just how we are in New York, I guess. I don't know. It's just, we're just loud, and it's ruining. I feel embarrassed when I'm around this type of stuff. But so we get to this cabin. The views are incredible. The woman who runs the retreat, no disrespect to her, you know those like Party City Halloween Austin Powers teeth? She was rocking those teeth, like truly, and she would smile a lot. So it was creepy. And she kept looking at us and looking at me, and it was just a little creepy, but God bless her and her cabin, because it was an incredible trip. So after we settle in there, we go check out Interlaken. There's like a site, there's like a, whatever you call that, like a sight point. We wind up taking like a tram up the mountain, and then you can see like really from a high up spot. I'll put a picture also of that so you can see that. And that was really, really cool, really awesome. And that was pretty much it for Interlaken. We wound up that night just getting Korean barbecue. There's a huge Korean population there, and they have a lot of great Korean barbecue spots. We ate something there. We went to a bar that was owned by this dude whose son plays in the NHL, and like his buddy with like Joe Thornton, Jumbo Joe Thornton from the Sharks, and what else, the Bruins. And And apparently he lives in Switzerland now with his wife, and he's raising his kids there. So that was cool. We got to meet them and talk to them, and then that was pretty much it. We wound up driving back to that cabin, and again, the light pollution was nothing. So the stars are crazy. Get up the next morning, and we were planning. So logically, let's make this clear. We went from Zurich. We landed there. We went to Lucerne. If you see a map, you'll understand what I'm talking about. I'll put it up. Zurich, Lucerne, Interlaken. And then our plan was we were going to go to Jungfrau and the region around Jungfrau, like Lauterbrunnen, etc. Come back up to Bern, if we had some time, to Bern, whatever you want to call it. And then probably end off either in Bern or end off back in Zurich so that we could sleep there, take the train the next morning to Munich for my buddy's bachelor party, which is the finale of this 3-country trip. But that's not what happened. So my buddy, he's one of these guys who, nothing wrong with it, but, I mean, he's got to have THC in his system at all times. It is what it is. I mean, he's going to be grumpy, he's going to be abrasive, argumentative when he's not filled up to the brim with THC. And that's, again, it is what it is, but it's not a good time for everyone around him if it's not going his way. Let's put it that way. So the morning of Wednesday, I guess, we wake up and he's like, I found a dispensary in Zurich. We got to go. And I'm like, yo, like, you got to be fucking joking. And he's like, we got to go. So I'm like, all right. So we drive the opposite direction all the way back to Zurich and go to this dispensary. Guess what? The dispensary is CBD, or as the French and Swiss like to say, ZBD. So I'm like, dude, you got to be kidding me. So he's about to buy some substantial weight of CBD because he's desperate. And I'm thinking to myself, not only is he going to waste the money, he's still going to be grumpy, and we just wasted half of the last day in Switzerland doing this. But lucky for him, Johnny is a salesman, he's a closer, and he's a Renaissance man. So I can dip and dabble and dodge and do whatever the fuck I got to do to make things work. So I walk out of this CBD store, and I'm pissed. And I see this woman walking down towards me in the street who just short blonde hair, kind of looks like Billy Idol, if you know what I'm talking about, leather biker jacket. She's got a choker necklace on, tatted up. And I'm like, this is my girl. So I bump into her. I go, hey, me and my friends were from New York, and we're looking for XYZ, and I point to the CBD store. I'm like, that's not what we need. Like, where can we get what we need? And she's like, I don't know. I don't speak. And I'm like, you know. I mean, what are we doing here? You know what I'm talking about. And then she goes, all right, fine. She takes out her phone, and she shows me a region of the city of Zurich. Now, Zurich is a very diverse big city, excuse me. So, I mean, there's nice parts, there's shitty parts. She shows me this one part. She goes, yo, you guys got to go over there, and then you'll find someone. Just let's put it that way. So I go, okay. So I walk into the CBD store as my buddy's basically putting in his fucking card to get his chip read and pay for this CBD bullshit. I go, yo. I go, I got someone. I got it. Let's go. So they leave, my two friends. They get out of the store, and then we go, I got the place. We're going to go here. We're going to find it. So, mind you, I got balls because I don't give a shit. I mean, he is like stepping on eggshells trying to ask people. Even going back yesterday from Lucerne, he was like trying to ask some dude in like a PacSun type store, and he's just like fake shopping for 20 minutes, and I had enough. So I just walk, I go in there, I beeline straight to the fucking register. I'm like, yo, like, you guys have what we need? And he's like, or not have. I was like, do you know where to get? And he's like, no, I'm sorry. I go, okay, no problem. And I was like, we just saved 45 minutes of our time. So same type of thing. We get to this shitty part of Zurich, which was like the Lower East Side. Just crackheads everywhere, homeless everywhere, fucking crazy. And we're passing so many prime suspects of people that I would be asking that would probably know where they can get some goods. So he won't ask this person. He won't ask that person. He won't ask this person. So I'm like, dude, I've had enough. Now I look to my left, and there's a tattoo shop, and there's a dude like sweeping the floor in front of the tattoo shop. So I go, this is my guy again. So I go up to him, I go, bro, like, where the fuck can we fucking pick up, right? And he goes, he turns and he's like, okay, come in. So he goes, okay, you go to this bar, man, and then you're going to get there, and this girl is going to be like serving beer, and you're going to get the beer, man. And I don't know what type of accent I'm doing, but it kind of sounds like how he was talking. He's like, you're going to get the beer, and then after you get the beer, you drink it. She's going to ask you if you want to smoke, and then you're going to say yes, and then she's going to tell you to go up the stairs, and then she's going to get you the weed, or the bud, excuse me, or whatever they call it, the hashish, whatever they call it in Switzerland. So we go, all right, listen, a man with a plan, Panama, we got it. So we go to the fucking bar. It's, again, like 11 a.m., I'm shocked the bar's open, and we go there, and it's empty, as you can imagine, and it's this shitty bar. The floors are filthy, and it's this one chick behind the counter, and she's tatted up like a king, wearing like just crazy shit. She looked like she could stab me and like just not feel anything about it. And so I go, hey, like this is a nice bar. Like, can we get a beer? And she's like, and she probably knew what the fuck was up. So she was just like, yeah, you guys want to smoke? And we're just like, yeah. So she's like, okay. So she opens the door to the, like, behind her, which this spiral staircase is going to lead to the attic. And as she does this dude walks in who is like a clear crackhead. His clothes are filthy. His hands, fingernails are disgustingly yellow. His teeth are all fucked up. And he just walks in behind us. And I'm thinking to myself, like, is he going to rob us? Like, what's going on here? Like, but no, he tried to, like, dap me up. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to touch your hands. And he's just following us up these stairs. And I'm like, all right, whatever, go with it. If I fucking die or get robbed, it is what it is. So we get to this fucking attic, open the door, and this is a sight to be seen. A fucking cloud of smoke hits us in the face the second we open the door, and it's these four sketchy-ass, like, Russian-looking dudes who are just sitting on this couch, rolling up joints or doing whatever they're doing, like, heroined out, basically. And there's a giant TV that's, like, facing, that they're all watching, and it's just, like, a grid of like 80 different camera angles of this bar and the perimeter outside this bar, the streets. Again, it's 11 a.m. No one's walking in the bar. Like, these guys, this was just such a sketchy spot. Like, I don't know what they were looking for, what they're looking at, but they're doing that, and we walk past, and there's a pool table. And by the way, this attic, there's no way of light getting in besides these two stained glass windows that are decorated not like in a religious theme, but they're decorated with like pool balls. So it's like a 5 blue striped ball that's like in stained glass. And so the light is just like peering into this fucking thing. And there's a pool table, and there's two dudes playing. And one of them is so high on crack that every time he shoots the cue ball, it just jumps over the fucking table. And then he like runs over and grabs the ball and puts it back down. This is the most unproductive game of pool I think I've ever watched. Maybe it could be the most unproductive game of pool in the history of the world, in the history of time. And so they're playing this pool game, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, where the fuck are we? And then we see this dude in the corner with a Chicago Bulls full jumpsuit, pants, to get the fucking rip-off pants, the sweatshirt, and the snapback. And I go, my man, blah, blah, blah. And then he knows what's good. And then we figured out for my buddy. And then we get what we needed. And now we're back hitting the road. So talk about a sketchy-ass story. By the way, to end the story off, as we're doing this, we're kind of just chilling. We don't want to, and we're so out of place. We're like 3 American white dudes who just like fucking are just awkwardly standing. They have another TV with like some weird like Russian soap opera on. It's odd. And this dude, this like I'm not kidding, this like 6'7" businessman walks in a full suit and a briefcase. And I'm like, oh, like what the fuck's going down here? Takes 2 feet in. This is again 11 a.m. Takes 2 steps in the fucking attic, falls on his face. Had to have been high on like heroin or like fentanyl or whatever the fuck. So I was glad to get out of there, suffice to say. And so, yeah, we now get on the road, and my buddy's happy, everyone's happy. I'm happy because he's happy, and everyone's ready to rock. And we're now going to head to the Jungfrau. So we get to the Jungfrau Joch, and that was the best experience also. Basically the highest attainable point, I believe, in Europe and second in the world. It is a mountain peak that you have to take a train that, or actually first of all a ski lift that's like super high, and then a train that's in the middle of the mountain all the way to the top. I'll post some pictures as well, and the site is just incredible. It's like one of the top, I mean, like I said, it's the highest attainable spot you could be in Europe. You're able to see the valleys and Lauterbrunnen and all the people and all the skiing and the mountain climbing. People are doing fucking dives off of it with parachutes. And call me a pussy, by the way, call me a fucking pussy. The air is thin up there. So I'm walking up the stairs, feeling like I'm going to pass out. And my buddy's like, dude, it's in your head, bro. Like, you're fucked up from that whatever, church thing in Copenhagen. It's fine. I'm like, dude, this isn't a height thing. I'm telling you, I'm inside right now in this fucking building that's in this mountain. I'm lightheaded from this, and that's a real thing. So if anyone ever makes fun of you, if you're at a high altitude and you're telling someone that you have a fucking lightheaded feeling when you're doing some type of cardio, whether it's going upstairs, walking, running, jumping, tell them that JohnnyAction gave it the stamp of approval. It is tough. It is tough. I could have used some oxygen. I could use one of those tanks. So we go to Jungfrau Joch. We take a bunch of pictures. And just, yeah, it was just really, really amazing. There's not really much else to say. I mean, I'm looking at my notes right here. One of the funny things I saw actually on the Jungfrau is like we're all the way up at the top, right? This is like the most fresh air probably you could breathe, although thin. And we got this woman with a mask on, with no one around her, wearing a mask on the Jungfrau Joch. The Jungfrau Joch. She's wearing a fucking mask. Well, in what world are we living in? I mean, this is just this is a scary time. 2023, scary time. But that's pretty much it. After Jungfrau, we go to Lauterbrunnen quickly, kind of get a view, get some videos and pictures. I'll put some up if I have anything that looks like it's nice. And then we end up, as the sun's setting, going to Bern. We get a beer there, walk the streets. Very German, European-esque vibe. Very cool. Nothing much to write home about. I tried Kilkenny, which is I think it's a red ale that's nitro. It's infused, and it was fucking amazing, and they don't really have it over here in the States, which is a shame. And so that's pretty much all I got for Switzerland. And we end this trip off with Germany. So Germany, I'll start off by saying it was my buddy's bachelor party, so there's a lot of things I'm not going to be able to speak on that are just going to have to die in Munich, Germany. But, I mean, very cool culture. I wasn't expecting it to be how it was, first of all. I mean, amazing architecture. What's it called? The Glockenspiel was very cool. A lot of great churches, cathedrals. I looked at them all. I viewed them all. It was actually my birthday. It coincided with my birthday. So I had a great birthday. We got there Thursday. By the way, so it was Springfest. So they got the tents. I'm wearing a fucking lederhosen. I look like a moron. Wearing a fucking hat. I look like Peter Pan. And having a good time. The women are beautiful. They're wearing all these fucking like lederhosen dresses. Incredible. They got the schnitzel, they got the fucking bratwurst or whatever it's called, the pretzels, the beer, right? Whether it's a Hofbrau or Weizen, whatever the fuck. I mean, it's a wild, not my culture, but it's cool. It's very cool to have done and seen. But so the second day we were there, which was Friday, was my birthday. So people were kind of doing their own thing, and I wanted to do my own thing. So I had a great day on my birthday. I woke up early. I went to the Nymphenburg Palace, and I really got to explore that a lot. Very, very nice, very cool. After that, I went to the BMW factory, which was amazing. The BMW Welt as well as the factory. So I got to see all the new cars, including the Rolls Royces in the lineup, a lot of the e-vehicles, the electronic cars. Very, very cool. Then I went to the museum, and that's right up my alley because for some reason, and I'm not a big car guy. I'm not going to say I am. I'm just not. But I've always, since when I was a child, I guess I was a car person. Like I always loved like pointing out the different cars and blah, blah, blah. I always liked the 3 Series from like 99 to 2002. That body, and even prior to that, it was my favorite, really my favorite car. And so they had so many of them in like chronological order from like inception to now of all the 3 Series, all the 5 Series, all the 7 Series, the old 8 Series. I mean, they had everything. It was really cool. They just had everything. The motorcycles. Got to do that. I got a great hat from there that I'm happy I have. It's in German, and it says like M class. It was awesome. And so got a lot of souvenirs for my family from there. And then the last day, we went to the English Garden, which is the largest urban garden in the world, I believe. And they have the Chinese Tower, which is very cool. You got music playing up there. Listen, no secret. Johnny's off the wagon. I mean, it's a shame, but it's true. Give me a nice couple Dunkels. Give me maybe, which is a dark beer. Give me a nice fucking, just a regular lager. I don't even know what you call it, the German thing that they had over there. A nice schnitzel, a nice pork schnitzel with the fucking lemon squeezed over it. They had this like almost, I don't even know, this like mac and cheese, but it was like potato with the onions and the shallots. They got it all over there. So if you want to be a gluttonous whore, you go to Germany, you go to Munich, and you hang out at the English Garden, and you just eat like a king and get fucked up, all right? So the alcohol, unfortunately, is not a positive thing, but it was a necessary evil in Europe, and it's carried over a little bit since I left. Nothing crazy. That 6-month kind of break of not drinking really rewired my brain as to when and why I'm drinking and how much and not taking it overboard and et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I mean, just a nice fucking beer with a wurst, with a nice schnitzel. I never knew what a schnitzel was. I thought it was like, because everyone used to make like penis jokes about schnitzel. So I thought it was like a sausage. No, it's like a fucking veal cutlet, but it's not veal. It's like pork. Oh, amazing. And then you got the You got the lemon over it. I feel like I'm eating flounder. It's a wild thing. It's crispy. You're in the tents for Springfest, and it was pouring raining one of the days. I'm running through a carnival in the middle of Munich, Germany, in a lederhosen, covering my hair from the rain like in a movie. I mean, it's just, when you do shit like that, it just doesn't make any sense in the grand scheme. It doesn't make any sense. It's funny. It's a funny thing. I'm wearing like a Peter Pan hat, fucking Pinocchio hat. And so that's pretty much it. That's the whole trip. Again, a lot of things I cannot speak on during the bachelor party. That was very fun. Also, I've said this before. I'll say it again. McDonald's in Europe is, or just really anywhere besides the States, is just a cut above. It is so amazing, okay? We went to McDonald's in Munich. My buddy Sean ordered like fucking 80 McChickens, 80 fucking Big Macs, like apple pies. They got different type of strudels. They got a fucking bakery, for Christ's sake, in the front of the McDonald's. The McFlurries have like chocolate crunchies in them and chocolate syrup and fucking whipped cream. I mean, it's just, it is a delight. A McDonald's overseas delight. So, I mean, I understand where McDonald's is a staple in America, and we're the country of slobs, so it makes sense that it's just like this slop, greasy, overpriced shit. But when you go to Europe and you get that refined taste, again, people are wearing nice New Balances, they're wearing Autry's, they're wearing all these nice shoes, they're always wearing Zara, they're wearing nice designer clothes. It makes sense that the McDonald's would be a high-class establishment. It just makes sense. And so now that's the whole trip, and I'll leave it off with this picture. I walk in the last night. My buddy decided to shave a Fu Manchu into his face and then wear a Chad Johnson, regular, not Ocho Cinco, a Chad Johnson jersey in Europe. I mean, come on. But he must have got so fucked up that night, and we're doing karaoke that night. It was a whole fucking thing. I show up in my hotel room, and I open the door, and something hits the door, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? So I hit it again, and I try to open the thing, and it's his head, and he's laying like a snow angel in the fucking hallway between the bathroom and the like hallway. And yeah, he was gone. I mean, gone. So I'll put a picture of that. And so we get to the airport now. I don't know how we did it. It was a 7 a.m. flight. Okay. I am so hungover. It reminded me of college when like my entire like Sunday and Monday until Monday night when I started drinking again would just be like in my bed, just recovering from like what felt like a stroke. And so I'm getting on this flight, a 10-hour flight from Munich, Germany. Actually, I take it back. It was a layover first. It was a Munich to Amsterdam, and then Amsterdam to JFK. I am in this airport going through it. And there's something to be said about when you're hungover and deathly ill, that not only is the anxiety ratcheted up to like 99.9%, but obviously you're going to throw up, and then because you don't want to throw up in public, you get more anxiety, and you got the headache, and you can't really hear straight, and you're waiting for this plane, and then obviously when the plane takes off, and you're also, that's what it was. So you're waiting in this airport, and everyone is smiling, and they're happy, and because they're probably going on a trip, or they're getting back from a nice calm trip, and me and my two friends are on the verge of dying. So, I mean, any person that smiles, I want to stab. I have my head down. Finally, they call us onto the plane. The plane is like probably not even that hot, but to me, it was so hot that I'm drip sweating like pure gasoline. And I'm just like convinced to myself that like I'm going to throw up in front of everyone. So I'm freaking out even more. Somehow the plane takes off. I got that stupid beam of fucking air conditioning hitting me in the eye again. The stupid flight attendants. Let me ask you a question, okay? What does a flight attendant do? Why are they there besides to give me a water? Okay? It is a useless job. No offense to the fucking flight attendants, but them coming around to tell me to put my seatbelt on when it doesn't mean a thing, and doing this and doing this, we don't need that. I mean, we just don't need it. Another flight thing I just realized that is the dumbest thing is how obsolete and how inefficient are passports. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm carrying around a novel in my pants when I'm traveling. Make it a fucking ID card. They don't even stamp the passport anymore half the time. Why does it have to be a fucking thing where I have to flip to the right page? It's like big. It's just a nuisance. There's no reason to have a passport. Give me a nice ID I could put in my wallet. It doesn't make any sense. So anyway, I'm in this plane. I somehow make it to Amsterdam for this layover, and I'm still going through it, but it's better. Putting water down. I could have used an IV. I didn't have an IV, and I somehow managed to to get back to the States. And by the way, on the flight from Amsterdam to America, I managed to feel good enough where I wanted to watch a movie and I wasn't going to sleep. So I wound up watching Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I'm a huge Tarantino guy. For some reason, I just hadn't seen the movie. Now, to preface this, I'm very familiar with the Sharon Tate whole situation, the Roman Polanski situation, the Charles Manson murders, etc. I was a big fan, very not obsessed, but I was very into that type of stuff. So I knew all about it. So I think if you watch that movie and you don't know anything about it, it's probably just like an especially the last 35 to 40 minutes. But if you know the scenario, it's fucking amazing. I mean, I literally was blown away with how good it was. I was not going into it expecting how good it was. Leo's role was amazing. Brad Pitt, bold hot take. It's one of his top 3 or 4 roles in his career and his best in like over a decade. I mean, he murdered that film. Just amazing. Margot Robbie. I know, like, I don't want to be the contrarian guy, but like I think like the whole like Wolf of Wall Street shtick is overrated. Like, yeah, she's obviously a beautiful woman, but like, but she is just perfect in that movie as Sharon Tate. The ending, I'm not going to spoil anything, but just the way it ends, the last 20 minutes is like a gift from God. I mean, Tarantino deserves every dollar he grossed on that movie because it is that good. It is so fucking amazing. And so I watched that movie on the plane home. I get home, and now what happens? I have to go to sleep because I have a flight to Chicago the next day because Johnny's now done with pleasure and he's now on to work. Okay, he's starting to work again. So I had a conference in Chicago the day after I got back from Europe. By the way, before I even get to that, because we were talking about movies quickly, another movie I watched on that plane ride home was Spaceballs. I hadn't seen it in a while. I'd probably seen it like 30 times just because I watched it every fucking day when I was a kid. That's an all-timer. What a funny movie. It holds up. I mean, Rick Moranis is so funny in that movie. It's just amazing. It's just such an amazing movie. And it reminds me that I've been using this app called Letterboxd. Okay, this episode is not brought to you by Letterboxd. If they want to sponsor me, they can go right ahead and do it. But Letterboxd is like a better IMDb. It's like almost like a Reddit just for movies. And I have every single movie I've watched rated and written a review about on there. And it helps me keep track of my movies, helps me add movies that I want to see. And yeah, like for example, I believe I gave a 4 stars out of 5 to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And besides that, I mean, going back a couple months ago, I've been a big spaghetti Western guy. I think I talked about that on the podcast prior. But had just recently watched The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly again for the first time in a long time. That's just a perfect movie. It's a perfect movie. Call me Lee Van Cleef. Call me Johnny Van Cleef, not the jewelry. We're talking about the actor here. Yeah, it's just fucking amazing. Eli Wallach in that movie, he carries it. He absolutely carries that movie. I was a little upset. I remember the first time I saw it because I used to love, I can't think of his name right now, the antagonist of the first 2 in the series, for a few dollars more and a fistful of dollars. The Italian guy, I can't think of his fucking name, the actor. But so when Eli Wallach was the bad guy, so to speak, or the ugly, I guess he wasn't the bad guy in that movie. He was the ugly. I was a little upset, but then after you watch that movie, which is it's not a short movie, it's a long movie, he grows on you so much. I could recommend, if you like any type of like Western type vibe and you haven't seen that, I know it's cliche because it's probably the most well-known, name recognizable household name movie for that genre, but you got to watch it. It's fucking amazing. You can see the jump in budget from the first 2 movies to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, where they got all these extras with the war going on and just the effects. It is prime, like, we're now getting to the golden age of movies, late 60s into the 70s, and then clearly it's just a rocket ship right into the mid-2000s, and then Marvel just decided to take a shit on everything. So now we get to Chicago. The flight was not bad because I was so used to flying at this point. Watched Whiplash on the plane. Again, not one of my favorite movies ever, but it's a great movie. Not quite my tempo. No, again, just not quite my tempo. Yeah, it's a great movie. But Chicago was aggressive. It really was aggressive. The first day, I mean, first of all, the homeless there are just like I said, aggressive. It's similar to New York, but maybe even worse, where I'm getting like approached heavy. I'm getting approached, as they would have said 10 years ago, getting approached hard body. So I'm in this nice hotel for work, and I walk out to go to a 7-Eleven. I'm getting fucking stabbed, basically. And the first day, the hotel was right near the Bean, right, Millennium Park. And so I didn't know that I mean, this was like in May. This was like early May. It's like 40 fucking degrees in Chicago, and it's raining. So I bought an umbrella for like $6. The thing keeps fucking like, you know when the umbrella flips the other way, and it's freezing raining, and I have like these like net shoes on, like mesh shoes, so my feet are freezing. So, I mean, I felt like I wanted to cry. I had to call an Uber mid-walk to the first food place. I mean, this whole Chicago trip was basically just a food tour with a side of work. Okay, so I start off, I go to Al's Famous Beef, which is like an Italian beef sandwich. Wasn't impressed, but I enjoyed it for what it was. It was spicy. They put the cherry peppers on it. I'll shoot a picture. It's probably going to look gross, but it tasted good. But any Philly cheesesteak, any proper cheesesteak, I know it's obviously not the same thing, but I'll take that any day over Al's Famous Beef. So there's that. Then I go to Pequod's. Now, let's do a little thing on deep dish pizza. It's not for me, first of all, and I don't even have a respect for it. It's a fucking pizza casserole piece of garbage, okay? Everyone says Lou Malnati's and Giordano's are the places to go. And so I go there, and it's not for me. I mean, there's a bowling ball in your stomach after you eat this thing, and it's just not, I mean, come on now. Come on, stop it. So I eat that, and then everyone told me, like, oh, those are like the basic ones. They're like the Pat's and Geno's cheesesteak version of deep dish pizza in Chicago. You got to go to Pequod's. So I take an Uber to Pequod's, okay? I literally ask who I think was like the manager of the whole restaurant, tell me what to get. I want to get what everyone says is like goated here. And I didn't say goated, that'd be cringe. And so they tell me to get like this sausage pepperoni fucking, I don't even know. And their big thing is that they fucking bake it with the cheese so it caramelizes and it's burnt. And I like burnt caramelized cheese. So I go, you know what? I'm probably going to like this place. I get this Pequod's pizza. I get this deep dish pizza, okay? Deep dish pizza. I get this pizza. What is this, a Red Baron in the fucking microwave, in the oven? What is this, DiGiorno? This pizza is dry as a bone in the inside. It's burnt to a crisp. It looks like someone took a blowtorch to it for an hour. And it's just loaded up with salty meats. No semblance of sauce and cheese. And everything's burnt. I'm going to put a picture up of the exact one I ate. 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10. Deep dish pizza, I can sort of understand the regular deep dish pizza. The Pequod's, which I was told is the best in the city by many people, mostly people who live in Chicago, including the Uber driver who drove me there. Not good. Not good. What are we talking about? Elio's? We're talking about Stouffer's? French bread? Burnt in the oven at 450 for fucking 3 hours? Dog shit. I mean, seriously, dog shit. So that was deep dish. Now, after that, I go to Jim's Original, which is a Polish sausage stand in like under a bridge in like the ghettos of Chicago, and it was fucking great. It was a Polish sausage. I don't even know what that means, but it was great. It's, I mean, loaded up with mustard and the kraut, which you gotta love. The bun was great. They put a hot, crunchy pepper on there. Hot, but good. I'll put a picture of that up there too. I mean, this is a great establishment. This is cheap. It was like, I don't even remember how much it was cheap. They give you a side of fries that were good fries. Can't say anything better about Jim's Polish Original or whatever the fuck it was called, Jim's Polish Sausage. All right, I'll give that like an 8.5 out of 10. And now you get to my favorite place in Chicago, which really isn't a Chicago thing. Actually, I got two more actually. The first place of the last two was I went to Raising Cane's in Chicago. Raising Cane's I'd heard a lot about, right up my alley. Fast food, but like niche fast food. And my opinion on Raising Cane's is this. Great chicken tenders. I mean, probably, I don't know if they'd be the best chicken tenders I've ever had in my life. They could be. But they're chicken tenders. So that didn't blow me away. And the cane sauce, while like good, I guess, was like a muted, smoky. When I see a sauce that's that color, I want it to taste like almost like a Big Mac sauce, like a special sauce, or like a Russian dressing. When you hit me with that like kind of like bland, smoky flavor, it doesn't do the job for me. It just doesn't. So that kind of was underwhelming. But for sure, the prized possession of Raising Cane's, which blew me away, was the Texas toast, which I think everyone says, but it is. This was a Auntie Anne's pretzel. It tasted like a butter pretzel, but toast. And it was, I mean, loaded up with the butter and the grease. This little piece of toast had to be like 700 calories, and it doesn't matter. I would eat. I mean, if you put, God forbid, you took 2 of those and melted a little cheese in between, made a nice grilled cheese with the Raising Cane's Texas toast. I mean, we're talking about a serious meal. That's probably a top tier meal. You get a cheese blend on there, nice panini press, bang, probably out of control. Little crunchy edges, unbelievable. So I liked Raising Cane's, didn't love it. And then you end off with, I went to Culver's. Now, I went to Culver's twice. This is a funny story, the first one. So the first time I go to Culver's, I was working this conference at this school, this college in Chicago, in the south side of Chicago. Now, I don't know much about Chicago, but I do know the south side is shitty, and I do know Chicago in general is a war zone at some parts. And so, stupid me, I don't look up into anything. I just do. And so I'm at this conference. I want to eat, and the girl I was working the conference with had to like take a call for half an hour. So I go, you know what? And she's from Chicago, and I go, you know what? Like, I'm gonna fucking go get Culver's. I'd heard a lot about it, a lot of comments on the TikToks that I should get Culver's, and so I want to do it. And so I walk, and as I'm walking, and I didn't even realize, because again, I just Uber A to B. I don't even look where the conference is. It's in the south side of Chicago. I start walking and everything looks fine, and then like 2 blocks go, and it's like a 12-minute walk. 2 blocks go down, I'm like 8 minutes away, and now all of a sudden like the grass is unkept, the buildings look a little shittier. There's a lot of vacant lots with like grass growing through the asphalt, and I'm thinking to myself like, this looks kind of sketchy, but like I'm not a scumbag. Like this is fine. This is absolutely fine. Mind you, I'm in a suit. And so next block, I see some like Asian dude walking the dog. I'm like, like how bad could this fucking place be? And then next thing you know, I see this dude posted up on the corner with a car next to him with all 4 doors open. I'm not kidding, blasting nothing but a G-Thang out of the car. And he's like selling something. I don't know what the fuck he was selling. I'm like, all right, this doesn't look the best area, but again, I'm going to power through. I'm 4 minutes away. Then I get to what looks like a main, like, not highway. It looks like a main, like, for people who live in Long Island, it looks like Sunrise Highway. There's no other way to describe it. It looks like Sunrise Highway. And I look up at the sign, and it says Martin Luther King Jr. Drive, which now I know, I recognize that name, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm actually in the ghetto. And so I see the Culver's, which is right across the street, so I go, fuck it, I'm going. So I get in there, there's security guards all over the place, and the security guards are drunk. They're fucked up, and their walkie-talkies are going crazy, and they're flirting with the attendees and shit. Everyone's going nuts. And I order this fucking burger, I'm scared to shit. I fucking eat it quickly, and I call an Uber, and I get the fuck out of there. And I couldn't really enjoy it, but I did appreciate that it was good. The thing I didn't like is the cheese curds were underwhelming. I was told to get them. They weren't that good. And because I was in a rush, I also did not get ice cream. I didn't get a cement mixer, I think they're called. Having said that, so I get back, I go to the conference, I go, hey, Katie, I was just at Culver's, and is that a sketchy area? And then she's like, yo, you were where? And then I look on my phone, and coincidentally, I was a 4-minute walk away from O-Block, which is wild. If you've listened to Chief Keef, if you listen to my man, Lil Durk, although of recent, Lil Durk has fallen off, you know what O-Block is. It is, it's just not a good spot to be. So God bless, I'm still alive in one piece, and I didn't get anything robbed from me, but I had Culver's, and it was good. Now, Chicago's done. Time is up. Took my mandatory bean picture, and it's time to go back to the airport. So I'm on the way to the airport, and I realize, I go, you know what, I just am not satisfied, because I liked Culver's a lot, but I couldn't enjoy it. I was fighting for my life in there. I got to go back. So I get in this Uber, and I'm planning on making a stop in this Uber. I'm planning on going to Culver's in between the airport and the hotel. So I get in this Uber, and it's this large dude, Middle Eastern guy, and sweet guy, sounded like he doesn't really say much at first, and he's got Queen on. He's got the bicycle song on, and I could have swore I heard him like singing under his breath, but I was like, you know what? Nah, like there's just no way he's singing under his breath. Like I'm out of my mind. Next song comes on, and the thing is, like, he played the entirety of that song, and then like he switched the radio, and it would be like pops, like new songs, like rap songs. And he would switch, and then he lands on a Frankie Valli song, and then like I'm like, this guy's I think singing along again. What the fuck? And then like all of a sudden he starts belting out Frankie Valli. He's belting out shit, and I'm like, holy shit, this dude is like, something's off with this guy, and now I'm nervous I'm going to get fucking hit, like I'm going to get, not hit, I'm nervous I'm going to get in an accident, because I don't know what this guy's doing. But then, Johnny, I got a sweetheart on me. I got a sweet, nice heart, and I start talking to this guy, and I go, you like Frankie Valli? And he goes, yeah. I go, and then all of a sudden this guy goes, yeah, I'm seeing him next week, and he's my favorite. I've seen him 35 times. I go, holy shit, this guy's like in his 30s, and he's a Frankie Valli fan. He's not your typical, like, Italian guy from Jersey who's, like, in his 60s. He is a Middle Eastern 30-year-old from Chicago, and he loves Frankie Valli. And so he has a CD, and he's just rattling off the Four Seasons, and then just Frankie Valli as a solo, just all his songs, and he's singing and I'm singing, and then he's talking about, I say how Joe Pesci found him, and he knows this, and then he asked me if I've seen Jersey Boys, and I said, I told him I not only saw the movie, I saw the play in Broadway, which was a lie, I didn't see it, but I needed to make conversation. And then I tell the guy, like, hey, listen, is there any chance we can stop at Culver's? And he goes, sure, man, like, no problem. And then we stop at Culver's, I fucking pick this guy up a cheeseburger. I mean, and so anyway, I sit down at Culver's. Now let me tell you about Culver's now that I have a proper review. Culver's could be the best. I wouldn't even call it fast casual. It's in between. The reason why it's in between is because the establishment is like a Wendy's. It's not like a higher end venue like a Shake Shack would be, or even like I don't know, any of these places. No, it looks like a Wendy's, and the burger appears to be like a Wendy's burger or like a Burger King or anything. But trust me, it is not. Okay, this burger has all the fixings like a Sonic burger or like even like a Whopper, but it's smash burgers cooked to perfection. The bun is amazing. I got the cheese curds like I said, and honestly was underwhelmed. I was told to get them; they were all right, but the burger was probably my favorite fast food burger I have ever had, and that's saying a lot. That's saying so much. I love Five Guys. I like a lot of other places, a lot of niche spots. This Culver's burger was on a different level. It really was. I swear to God it was. The fries were good. I got the chicken sandwich as well. Chicken sandwich was like a good fast food chicken sandwich. It wasn't on a Chick-fil-A level because it was like kind of like I don't know. It was like, I don't know. But it was good. But the Culver's, and then I got the cement mixer, which I made a mistake. I got it like too like generic with like just chocolate and vanilla type shit. I should have got a little bit more spicy. And because of that, I don't want to really give it a rating. But let's forget about all that. Let's just talk about the burger, the buttered bun, the smash burgers, the cheese, and the lettuce, tomato, onion, pickles, ketchup, mayo. I mean, get the fuck out of here. It's the best fast food burger I've had. And it's not expensive either. It's just a great bang for your buck. So I get back into this Uber, give the guy his cheeseburger that he didn't even ask for. He was so gracious and thankful. We now drive all the way back to the Chicago airport, just chatting about, he knew so much about the like mob history, because we were talking about Pesci, and then we were talking about fucking like all the different type of shit. The guy is the man, and then like a nice guy, listen, it wasn't on my dime. The fucking company paid for it because it's an expense, baby. I tipped this guy out the ass. I doubled the ride for this guy, and you know what? I sent him on his way. He sent me on my way. The guy was born and raised in Chicago. Now he raises a family outside of the city. Sweet, beautiful guy. I wish him nothing but the best, and for his family, his daughter, all of it. And so we went on our separate ways, and I'll never forget that guy. I swear to God. That was a special time, that guy. That guy was a special guy. All right, so Chicago's done, and then I get home for about a week, and, I mean, this nonstop traveling is brutal for the consistency in the gym and the diet, but I somehow managed to stay consistent because I was a man with a plan, really. I was like, you know what? I'm not letting this fuck up my shit, and I'm going to get on my grind and do my thing. So, thankfully, I didn't let this traveling hurt me too much. As soon as I get home, like I said, I got a week to kind of relax, and then bang, I go right back out. I had to travel to San Diego. Now, I had never been to California before, and when I tell you I'm Johnny Magellan, I'm traveling like a king. I'm telling you. This is not a joke. This is not a drill. So I get to San Diego, and obviously I go in May, which apparently I didn't know this is called Gray May. It's the only month out of the whole year that San Diego has bad weather. When you think of San Diego, you think about the best weather in the world. Well, clearly, I go during Gray May. So that's what it is. I mean, what are you going to do? But I get there. The first thing I was told to try by my research was what's called La Perla, which apparently invented what's called the California burrito, which I had never had before. And a California burrito is basically, I believe, carne asada with a melted cheese blend, rice, pico de gallo, fresh made guac, and the kicker here is very crispy French fries. And so I went to this La Perla, and it was an amazing burrito. Bothered my stomach after for about a day, but unbelievable burrito. The flavor just pops. I mean, the flavor was amazing. The way it was grilled, the fresh made tortilla, very, very, very nice. I mean, I couldn't have liked it more. Another place, so I stayed in the gas lamp area, and I'm not giving San Diego a fair shake because my overall review of San Diego is that I didn't love it, but once again, the weather wasn't nice. Second of all, I obviously was working for most of it. And third of all, I went to what I've been told is the only like not great part of San Diego, which is the Gaslamp District, the downtown. If I were to go to any like Atlantic Beach, Pacific Beach, what's it called, La Jolla, all those places, I heard it's like heaven on earth. But apparently where I wasn't the greatest. So I'm going to withhold judgment. Hopefully I'll be back to San Diego within a year or two. So I went to another place in downtown that I've been told is very good, which is a very famous taco joint called Tacos El Gordo. Tacos El Gordo. They got pork adobada. Okay, you got to say it with the little lisp, like you're actually like one of the fucking the locals. Okay, pork adobada. Okay, and so just great. I mean, just great. They got it on like one of those twisty things. I'll put a video up with pineapple juice dripping down and the spices all in it, marinating. Homemade corn tortillas, tacos, the guac, the whole thing, the fucking, just all of it. Very, very good. And so, yeah, pretty much in San Diego, that's all I did was be at these conferences, these corporate conferences. And these conferences, if you've been to one of them, it's just overweight white middle America women who travel to these conferences and they just carry around tote bags, shoveling junk into them, like corporate junk, like Frisbees with logos on them, stress balls, sunglasses, socks, fucking packs of tissues. They bring them all home to their kids. I mean, what are you doing with that? So their kids can blow a nose in a like corporate tissue? It doesn't make any sense, dude. It's just a weird ecosystem, the corporate America world, specifically in the conference space. And everyone there is talking about their company's secret sauce. I mean, be less original. All these companies, they're the same companies. No one knows what anyone's talking about. You go over to someone, they want to explain their company. You could tell they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. It's just these conferences are wild. Okay, the lunches are dog shit. So anyway, that's what I did in San Diego. Besides that, I went on a run to kind of like explore the city. I mean, I guess the downtown area. I saw like the Navy ships on the like, I don't know what you call it, just the water. I don't even know if it's like an inlet or whatnot. And so, yeah, I mean, all this traveling has got me thinking about just, you could be born anywhere and be a different person. Like, if I was born in California, I'd be a different guy with a different set of potential and different. If I was born in North Dakota, Texas, Australia, Europe, Africa, it would have been just like, just completely different. And it's not your fault or it's not good or bad. It's just like, it's just interesting to me how, like, I watched Matthew McConaughey, an interview yesterday with Lex Friedman. I'm not a big Lex Friedman guy, but I like McConaughey, so I watched it. And he was saying how, like, this life is one take, right? There's no do-over. There's no second or third take. So, like, my first take was I was born in Long Island, New York, and I'm from New York, and I've pretty much been in New York my whole life. And have I boxed myself in? Maybe. And then there's the people who, like, travel a lot, but then, like, is it different? And it's, like, it's just weird to me. I follow a lot of like tattoo artists in Australia, and then like seeing that ecosystem. I used to work a lot of hours in Australia, and think about like just being on the other side of the world. And like baseball is a big part of my life, and American football is a big part of my life. That would just be not a thing for me. And I would have just the music taste, everything would have just been different. My job, my career, everything would be fully different just because of traveling. And that really gets me feeling pretty crazy. So I basically got back from San Diego, and finally the last leg of this travel extravaganza was going back to California the week after to LA. So I had never been to California, and then twice in 3 weeks I had to go to California. So San Diego was first, week in between off, and then LA. Now, before I get to that also, another quick little quip. If you travel a lot, and I didn't, but now I do, I guess, Amex Platinum, which I've had for a couple years, is such a no-brainer. It is the best fucking thing ever. I mean, besides all the perks, the Sky Lounge and all the airports, just getting upgraded. I mean, the reason I got that car upgrade in Europe was because of Platinum. My room upgrades in the hotels, you get money to spend for free. It's just amazing. Upgrades on flights. Couldn't recommend it more. It pays for itself, genuinely, if you travel a lot. Also, you call Amex at any hour of the day. They're answering with a live person right away, and they help you. They know who you are. It's amazing. So, yeah, last trip was LA, and so LA was interesting. I get to the airport, and, I mean, time is flying. This kid who was in my fraternity when I was a freshman, he was a junior, so not that much older than me. I see this guy, and he's got gray hair, and he's, like, skinnier than I remember. And he's with this beautiful woman. He's an Indian gentleman, just to kind of clarify here. Indian gentleman. And he's with this beautiful white woman who's tall. He's probably like 6 feet tall. She's probably like 5'11". And they have a beautiful baby girl in his stroller. And you could tell he's with his mother-in-law as well. And I'm looking at this guy, and I'm going, this has got to be this kid that I know. And it's like 7 a.m., and I had to do it. I go, are you Danny? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I remember. He's like, dude. And I was like, yeah, man. Like, it's been a fucking long time. Long story short, by the way, I was in 2 fraternities in college. I pledged a fraternity my freshman year, first semester, which was this kid's fraternity. And then after that, left for some reasons, and then joined a different one the next year, which has been my fraternity. And I stayed 5 years, so I was in it for 4 years. So, like, it makes sense why we wouldn't have really knew each other, right? So he's got gray hair now, and he's like a fucking father, and he's married, and he was going to a Bahamas vacation with his in-laws. It's nuts how fast time flies. So I get on that plane. I sleep the whole way through. It was amazing. No one was to my right. So I had like the whole row open. So I wound up sitting. I never sit window. I'm always an aisle seat guy. But if no one's to my left, I don't have to worry about having to go take a piss or just like stretching my leg out. So I sat in the window so you can put your head in the side. Now I see, I was always that aisle seat guy because of, like I said, the foot space and being able to get up when I want. But now sitting in the window side, there's something to be said about that. You can put your head down and actually sleep. So now that got me thinking. But yeah, it was a good flight there. I slept pretty much the whole way. And yeah, I get to LA. My Airbnb was in El Segundo. So I get to LA, by the way. The conference was on Monday to Thursday. But prior, I decided to go Saturday and Sunday because the Yankees, for the first time in a long time, were playing the Dodgers in Dodger Stadium. I had never been to Dodger Stadium. And a goal of mine is to kind of go to pretty much all ballparks in the States, right? So wanted to knock that off the list. By the way, when I was in San Diego, this doesn't count. I'm not counting it. But we had a conference event on the field at Petco Park in San Diego. It was on the infield turf. It was just fucking sick, like the grass and stuff. So, but anyway, so El Segundo was my, which is in Los Angeles County, was my Airbnb. Very nice spot. Idyllic. I mean, it's just nice. It's like a nice family-oriented neighborhood. There's a Little League ballpark right like next to where my Airbnb was. The water's right there. Everyone's chill. It was just very nice. And my buddy lives in Manhattan Beach. And Manhattan Beach was just like an even nicer version of El Segundo. I was blown away by it. Everyone's kind of like 24 to 32 from what I saw that's renting. Obviously, the houses are like millions of dollars. But like it's just a crazy vibe. The town at night was incredible. Great restaurants, just it was like the vibe of the Hamptons, but not as like stuck up and brutal East Coast. It was more chill and just like down to earth. And I've heard that like the Santa Monica region of LA and Venice and like Hollywood and West Hollywood gets that pretentious actor. Everyone's trying to be a thing nature. But from what I've been told, Manhattan Beach is like a bubble of just like surfers and just good vibes. And that's exactly what it was. So, by the way, now that I'm talking about Manhattan Beach, one of my buddy's friends, I'm at this thing at his house on Sunday, and everyone's drinking, having a good time. And this kid is like a funny dude, and he's wearing a shirt that says Fat Boy Surf Club. And I was like, oh, that's a funny shirt. And then I see someone else wearing one, and then someone else wearing a Fat Boy Surf Club hat. So I'm like, yo, what is this Fat Boy Surf Club? And then my boy's like, hey, my friend made this company during COVID. So I'm like, oh, very cool. That was it. We go to a bar. I'm taking a piss in the bathroom, and I see Fat Boy Surf Club stickers everywhere. So I'm like, oh, my God, that's so funny. The stickers are there. Walk out, and I'm noticing people at this bar are wearing Fat Boy Surf Club fucking whatever you call it, and shirts and stuff. And also, pretty ingenious logo. It's like the surfer symbol, but there's a fork in between, which is funny to me. So I go, dude, something's not adding up here. This looks like a big brand. So I talk to my friend. I go, dude, like, why is everyone wearing this? Your boy's company? It's like a fucking like startup, whatever. He's like, no, dude. He's like, my boy just did. I'm not gonna say the number, but he did like high 5 figures in revenue the last X amount of months, like month over month. He started it in COVID as a joke, and it picked up steam. Now he quit his job, and he's doing it full time. And I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. So shout out to Fat Boy Surf Club. I'm gonna make a clip on TikTok about this, and yeah, I mean, just very cool. I mean, that's a fucking dream. The kid's living the dream, living in Manhattan Beach, Vibe City, looks like a surfer. I think he does surf. Great brand, making money, living it up, not giving a fuck, living life in the fast lane. Limp Bizkit, baby. And so that was Fat Boy Surf Club in Manhattan Beach. But yeah, Manhattan Beach, magical vibe to it. I went, like I said, to the Yankees-Dodgers game that Sunday. Obviously, I go when Judge gets hurt. He got hurt the day before, so I didn't get to see him play. Doesn't really matter because I've seen Judge play in person, obviously a lot in New York, and I'm not like this Judge guy, even though he's great. Very cool to see Mookie Betts in a Dodgers uniform, Freddie Freeman. I had great seats. I was right. So actually, interesting story. So I'm about like 12 rows up behind home plate, and stars galore. Well, not stars, but like John Barry's sitting one row behind me, and this was the game during Game 4, I think, or Game 3. No, I'm sorry. It was Game 2 of the NBA Finals, Heat Nuggets, and this was the game that the Nuggets lost. And me and John Barry are going back and forth about the Nuggets game, going back and forth like we're pals. And I'm talking to him about San Francisco because he's a Giants fan and whatnot, and his brother and his dad and yada, yada, yada. Then, what do you know? Fifth inning rolls around. That's the thing with LA, though. People are slow, they're late, and they leave early. Like, you think you'd pay for a nice ticket at a game and get there before the game and stay the whole time. These people are getting there at 5. They're getting there 4 innings into the game. They're leaving in the 8th inning, 7th inning. It's crazy. But Nicky Turturro shows up, big Yankees fan. I guess he lives out in LA. And legendary moment. I'll put the video up of like when I saw him. But everyone's like, whatever. And then I'm like, Nicky! I'm like, I just say fucking popcorn. And then he like looked at me and he was fucked up. And he looks at me, he's like, and he fucking like this. And I was like, fuck yeah. So they were there. I'm forgetting a third person I saw who was like a pretty, I forgot. But then that was that. They sell at the stadium and all over LA, which I was blown away by. I loved it. It was Estrella Jalisco beer. It's like a Corona Mexican type beer, lighter though, like a Modelo almost. But to my knowledge, I mean, I thought it was the best Mexican beer I've had. It was phenomenal. Food at Dodger Stadium was okay. I thought they did a good job with the Vin Scully. I don't want to get too much into baseball here, but I think they did a good job with the Vin Scully, like memorabilia and tributes and stuff like that. Very, very cool. And then that was that. I wound up, by the way, let's rewind for a second. That Saturday, I got a haircut by Dino the Barber, Dean Lauer. I had followed him for a long time on Instagram. The guy's a fucking king. And this was a while ago. It was 3 weeks ago, so the haircut grew in. But, I mean, he hooked me up with a fucking burst fade mullet. My hair had been so long, and it was, like, gross. It didn't have any shape to it. It was fucking, like, I looked like I was going bald, which I am. But, like, now I'm fucking hiding it so well. And just, like, if you could see the fucking cut, it's, like, thick in the back. It's just fucking amazing. And he's an amazing guy. I cannot believe he's 24. It genuinely inspired me. We were talking about just, like, life, basically, jobs, and how he came to be, and people doubting him, and people from his hometown, like, making fun a little bit, and, like, all the haters, and yada, 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 and obviously now he's killing it, and it was a risk to start cutting hair and move out to LA and be fully tatted, even on your face. But he made it, and it's just amazing, and he's so amazing at his craft. It just makes me, I'm almost like jealous in a positive way that he's a person who is an entrepreneur. He's living his life. He's his own boss. He can do whatever he wants with his image, and he has a skill that people are willing to pay top dollar for. And so, yeah, we had a great time. He still hasn't hit me with a recommendation for a New York barber because, like, trust me, I've done my research, and I've gotten smoked so many times from good barbers. But best haircut I've ever received in my life. I mean, it better have been because I paid a pretty penny for it. But and that's another thing, too, me and him were talking about, where it's like the amount of shit he got, I'm sure, behind his back, he was telling me, from his friends who he thought were his friends and just people he knew for not going to college to cut hair and to move to LA and to start creating content on Instagram and to be heavily tattooed. People were saying that he was losing his mind, that he was having a crisis, all this stuff. And on a smaller level, me quitting a job, which I did last year, that I genuinely didn't like, or, I mean, cutting my hair into a mullet, which I've done multiple times over the last year, or getting tattooed now and continuing to get tattooed, or most importantly, doing this podcast that I genuinely love doing and enjoy doing. The amount of people that I thought were my friends who have talked shit about this, or just, like, made comments about how I'm losing my mind, or I'm going through a quarter-life crisis, is just insane to me for so many reasons and on so many different levels. I mean, if you're going to radically change your life, your 20s is when you should be doing it. You shouldn't be doing it when you're in your 40s. I want to be able to carry myself and do the things that I want to do and be who I want to be and nothing else. Why am I trying to do something I don't want to do? So this is who I am. And so the amount of, like he was saying, like backlash he got is just ironic and amazing. And for him, it's even better because he has the last laugh because he's super successful now and he's the fucking man. And for excuse me, for me, hopefully in the future, if this, for example, this podcast works out, great, and I could feel the same way. But even if it doesn't, I will not regret a single second of putting myself out there and doing this, because this is what I like doing, and this is what I like looking like, and this is what I like who I like being. So, I mean, there's no reason to get discouraged if anyone's like doing we were talking about this. It's like anyone who's ever trying to do something to either better themselves or to do something they enjoy, why would anyone ever talk shit about it? It's a reflection of that person, and it's embarrassing. It really is. But yeah, so now I go from LA to Anaheim for this conference, and Anaheim is crazy because it's like Disneyland everywhere, and it's a fortune because in Disneyland, everything is Disney, and they trap you in. So my hotel was the Marriott. I have no problem saying it. And basically the conference I was at was in the hotel as well. Oh, no, I'm sorry, it was the Hilton, not the Marriott. It was the Hilton. And they have 2 places to eat in the whole place, and if you don't eat there, you have to Uber like 15 minutes away, where you really can't because you're at a conference with everyone's bosses, so you can't leave. Chicken fingers, not kidding around. 4-piece chicken tender, $17.50. A burrito bowl that was the size of like a small cereal bowl, no joke, $24.99. I mean, this is blasphemy. This is unfair. It's price gouging, and I won't stand for it. But seriously, it's ridiculous. Disney gift shops everywhere. I'm buying a fucking 1-liter size Dasani with a power bar for $10. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's insane. You go to these conferences again. I mentioned it last time, but it's true. It's just a funny environment to be in. Everyone wants to get fucked up. The minute it turns 5 o'clock, they're all at the hotel bar trying to just like black out. Also, just like the little things you're involved with again, like when you're at these types of places. Auto sinks. Have they ever worked for you? Honestly, auto sinks. You go to the sink, it's not on. There's no fucking thing to twist. You got to stick your hand under it. I will guarantee you've never had a seamless, I need to wash my hands, I'm going to stick my hand under. When I stick my hand under, boom, the water comes down until I want it to stop. Then I remove my hands. Never. Every time I've used an auto sink, I'm sticking my hands, I'm waving, and nothing's happening. Then finally I pull my hand away, the water comes down. I put my hand right back in, and it gets wet for a second, then the fucking water shuts off. It's a joke. It's so frustrating. Just put the pump there and give me for the soap and give me the fucking thing. I mean, really. So you got that. And another thing that just like from this conference that also just like made me realize sometimes there's nothing worse than just someone saying good morning to you if it's too early. If it's too early and someone smiles at me like all happy and shit and says good morning to me, I get pissed. I get mad because it's 7:55 in the morning. I don't want anything to do with what I'm doing. I don't think have you ever been up at 7:55 and ever wanted to be up at that time? I can't imagine a time where you've wanted to be up at 7:55. Maybe you're doing something that's going to better yourself, but if I'm up at 7:55 and I have someone all happy and go lucky and they're going to tell me good morning, you can go fuck yourself. Seriously, it's enough with that. I'm over the good mornings. I'm over the hope you have a great days. I'm over it all. I'm over the smiles. I'm getting tired of just look away from me. Look down at the floor and pass me by and let's get on with our business and let's move on. Now, while I was in Anaheim, I had to obviously hit an Angels game. I'm on a fucking ballpark tour. What are you going to do? And so I got the best tickets ever for $75. I was like 5th row up, third base side on deck circle, basically. And because no one was in the first row, I sat first row the whole game. It was incredible. I got to see Ohtani and Trout and Gio Urshela, Phil Nevin, Rendon, everyone. I got to see them up close and personal. Everything I said they could hear. All the pictures and videos I got were amazing. The Angels Stadium was old in a bad way, but I liked it. The food wasn't good. They had Wee Man's what's it called? Chronic Tacos joint there. It was pretty good. But yeah, it was just a good vibe. It was a good game. They played the Cubs. Ohtani went deep. Ohtani's just a legend. I mean, really, every time he pokes his head out of the dugout, everyone's going ape shit. I mean, it's just a cool experience to have said, I got to see Mike Trout and Ohtani play on the same team on Ohtani's first franchise because we know he's probably going to move. And so, yeah, I just love the Angel Stadium. It was just a great experience. And yeah, I always have a fond memory of that stadium, honestly. It was just great. And that's pretty much finally it for the traveling. I mean, in this whole craziness of all the traveling I've done, another, like, just brutal observation I've made is, although Ubers are very efficient in terms of I need to go somewhere, I'm going to call one, and it's going to be here now. I mean, I've been in, like, 80 Ubers over the last, like, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I'm not kidding. half these Ubers stink. They smell so bad. I don't even know what the smell is, that I have to hold my nose or I'm going to throw up in the car. It's miserable. It ruins the whole ride. And then two other things. Because they're not like professional drivers, a lot of these people are just people who are trying to get extra money. Some people don't know how to drive. I mean, they're stopping short and then accelerating on stops in bumper-to-bumper traffic, especially in LA. So, I mean, there was another, forget about this throwing up from the smell. There was a couple car rides. I literally thought I was going to projectile vomit on the driver in front of me just because he was stopping and starting. And you don't really want to say anything. You're like stepping on eggshells because maybe you got a bad Uber rating. It's insane. And then, yeah, because they're not drivers, a lot of them, I've almost got into like 4 different life-changing, life-altering accidents. So, yeah, I'm fully done with Ubers, and now the traveling has come to an end, thank God. I get in the airport to leave, to go back to New York, and they got this, like, walk-in, walk-out thing now for Hudson News, which is wild, where you just walk in, you scan your card, it knows what you take, and you just leave, and they charge you. It's just very scary that, like, these cameras are watching me or some shit. There's, like, weird sensors. But that was a cool experience to see that. I get on the plane, and now, if you remember, we have that smoke from Canada coming over last week. So the whole sky is orange. People thought my flight was going to get delayed, but thankfully it didn't. And I'm on this plane back to New York, and I decided I'm going to watch Jerry Maguire. I hadn't seen Jerry Maguire in a while. And if you haven't seen Jerry Maguire, you got to watch it. I mean, you got to watch it. It was borderline pathetic. For half of this movie, I am bawling my eyes out. Specifically the last 30 minutes of the movie. Thank God I had a hoodie on. It's me, and then to my right in the window seat is some other guy. I have my hood up trying to figure out if he can see through his peripheral vision, if he can see that I'm crying, because I'm stone-faced, but the tears are streaming down my face. I'm going to spoil it. I don't care. When Cuba Gooding Jr. catches the ball and goes down, and his wife gets really, like, nervous that he's going to be paralyzed for the rest of his life, and then obviously he gets up, and then he gets the contract, or he has the big game, whatever you want to call it, and then they're in the tunnel, and Jerry and him embrace, and they're both mutually so happy for each other, and like they made it. I'll fucking cry right now. It is the saddest, but like most uplifting, not sad, it's like the most happy tears fucking thing ever. 2 seconds later, he gets on a fucking plane, goes to his wife's house, and gives the speech, the monologue of a lifetime for two people in love. And if you don't cry with that, you have no soul. And so, yeah, you got to see Jerry Maguire if you haven't seen it. Even like Jonathan Lipnicki, who was the cutest kid ever. He's probably like a 30-something-year-old man now. In that movie, his name's Ray, cutest kid that's ever existed. When he has the moments with Tom Cruise, I want to cry. I mean, I don't know if someone's been slipping me estrogen pills. It's a special movie. I mean, it's just I'm crying the whole movie. But yeah, I get home finally. Thank God. Everything's back to normal. And by the way, before I even get to that, Tom Cruise. There's a movie called Days of Thunder. I've never seen it before. It was recommended on the movie Plain Screen. This poster is fake. It's a fake poster, and I got to see the movie because of it. Imagine being Tom Cruise in 1990 whatever. You're cast as the lead of a fucking movie about NASCAR, and it's just a picture of your face, like a mean picture of your face with your last name in big bold letters above you, and then the title of the movie under your chin. No one else is listed, nothing else. You don't know shit about the movie. That is what being a movie star is all about. Tom Cruise is an absolute king. I understand he's a little short. It is what it is. He is a fucking god, okay? Tom fucking Cruise. I know he's a Scientologist. I know he's wacky, but make no mistake, with all of his, when you compile his entire filmography, when you look at the work he's done, it is a permanent imprint on movies as we know it, and of pop culture, and of Hollywood. So I want to salute Tom Cruise, and specifically the poster for Days of Thunder. It looks fucking incredible. So I get home, I'm feeling good, back on the diet, back on the consistent grind, the cardio, the fucking workouts. I'm feeling good. Little tan. I lost a tan because it's been shitty weather the last couple of days. Because again, I got home from California. I go to California, it's shit weather. I come back to New York, it's shit weather. But everyone's telling me when I'm in California how great the New York weather is. I get here, it's fucking thunderstorms every day. But yeah, I mean, just really, really great travel experiences. I can use a little bit of a break because I mean, the way it breaks up your consistency and your schedule and your routine sucks. But I mean, it's very cool to see new places, try new food. And overall, we're going to give it overall a thumbs up for sure. Now, we're nearing the end of the episode, end of the podcast, and I have this segment I've been meaning to put into all my podcasts. We're going to start it with this one, and it's going to be called, Is There Anything Worse? Okay? And we're going to start off with a bang because, I mean, this could be the king of all kings. Is there anything worse than ordering takeout and showing up to the restaurant, okay? You show up to the restaurant and the food is already there waiting for you. Is there anything worse? Genuinely, you might as well get there, look and see the food's there, and then walk the fuck out and not even pick the food up and leave. The food's now, you're thinking to yourself, this food could have been there for 15 minutes. And it's not. Here's the thing. Maybe it's a nice Friday night. You're not doing anything crazy. You order a chicken, you order a chicken franchise, rigatoni vodka on the side, maybe a meatball parm for later, okay? They tell you 15, 20 minutes. The restaurant's 7 to 10 minutes away from your house. So you're thinking, all right, I'll leave in 5 minutes, get there a little early. Well, you wait 5 minutes, then you get your shoes, then you can't find your keys. Then 2 minutes go by, and you go, oh, fuck, I got to go. And now you're still on time. You get there, and the food is on the counter. Okay, that food in your mind could have been sitting there for a year, and it might as well have been because it's over. Soggy, shitty, cold. Nothing worse than showing up and the takeout is already there. Nothing worse. Second in the segment, anything worse than the Ram truck guy. If you drive a Ram truck, I have no problem with pickup trucks. F-150s are nice. Tacomas are nice. Any of the pickup trucks, I don't care. Ram 1500s, I think they're called, or just Rams in general. You recognize those headlights from a mile away. At night, they got the high beams on. Every one of them, without fail, every single one of them is driving like a scumbag up your ass, just weaving and bobbing between traffic. It's a fucking mess. And you know, all of them, they got tribal tattoos. They're fucking shaved head, small dick. Fucking miserable. And that is this week's podcast segment. Is there anything worse? Now, we're pretty much done for the podcast. I'm looking at what I have here. They got commercials now of like they're pitching being able to not even have to bend down to step into your shoes. Skechers has these slip-on shoes where you just fucking like step into them. How lazy are we getting? First of all, now everyone's wearing these shoes that has like 3 inches of foam on them. Just insane. And then on top of that, now you're going to tell me I don't have to bend down and there's no laces. How lazy have we gotten as a society? It's getting sickening. Why don't you do yourself a favor, buy you some barefoot shoes and build those arches, okay? Build those arches, get in the best shape of your life, and feel a connection to the ground. Feel a ground connectivity, all right? Skechers, stop it with that bullshit, and copper fit and all this fucking old people shit, it's insane, okay? I can understand if you have no arms. Listen, if you have no arms, you can go ahead and you can buy Skechers that you can slip into by standing up. Aside from people who have no arms, grow up and bend down to put your fucking shoes on, okay? And that's pretty much it. That is the JohnnyCast episode 13. I'm so happy to be back. It's been so long, I apologize. There hasn't been much zingers on this podcast, and I understand that, but it's just because I've had to cover too much shit that's happened. Everyone have a good weekend. We got a nice long weekend, Juneteenth, so happy Juneteenth, everyone. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. I can't wait to celebrate. Fucking, it is what it is. And hold on, hold tight. I'm going to be having a lot of chopped up clips from this podcast that are hopefully going to be on TikTok over the next week and a half. Then I'll have another podcast episode. And then I go to Montreal to see the Sixth God, to see Drizzy Drake, to see October's very own in Montreal. It's going to be nice. All right. So I bid everyone adieu.